I was almost afraid to give it a try. Afraid that maybe my diva would come back. Afraid of being judged or critiqued for my voice. But again, a few years ago, God spoke to me and said, I want you to sing. I gave you this gift, and it's time that you use it. And he used a series of circumstances that were happening in my life to lead me towards really making voice my focus.
Hello, I'm Ricardo Reina, welcoming you to the Department Stories, a series of interviews showcasing incredible stories from La Sierra University Department of Music. We are happy to have soprano Juliana Baioni. Leaving her hometown on the East Coast to study voice in Southern California was a difficult choice, but Juliana knew it was what she had to do. Tune in to the Department Stories to hear how Juliana took a leap of faith to find her voice. Remember that you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at La Sierra University Music. But right now, enjoy the Department Stories.
Sure. So I am here at La Sierra in the Performance Certificate program, and I'm a soprano, so I'm here to study voice. And how I started in music, it's always a funny story to think back on. I think music has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. I know for a fact that my very first babysitter was Disney's Fantasia. My mom would be cleaning houses, and she would sit me in front of the TV and pop in the VHS, and I didn't get to watch the very last bit, Night on Bald Mountain, until I was like 14. But everything else, I just became enamored with the music and the colors, the sounds. My mom and other people who took care of me when I was little would often tell stories of me banging out rhythms and like following along with the music and kind of moving around. And I have sung for as long as I can remember.
Wow. But
according to my mother, I didn't sing in tune until I started taking flute lessons when I was in 5th grade, when most kids usually start band. Mm-hmm. And it's just interesting to look back now and see just how involved with music I was growing up. Mm-hmm. I was involved with music at church, in choirs or solos, both on flute and voice. And then in high school, I was part of every musical ensemble I could imagine and try to be in: the band, the honors band, the choir, the honors choir, the handbell choir, and then of course drama, which we did musical theater productions. Mm-hmm. And I was in those productions from 6th grade until I graduated. And it just was, I wanted to be a scientist when I was younger. But God swerved my path, and when I was ready to go to a school to study biology because I wanted to be like a field biologist going around and looking for animals and taking notes and all that, he said, nope, I want you in music. Oh. And so then I ended up doing my bachelor's actually in flute performance, and it was a great experience. But the reason I chose music, even though it had been a part of me for so long, was because God said that this is what he was wanting from me. And I don't know that I would have chosen it for myself, but looking back now, it's like, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense that this is what I'm meant to do.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you were meant to do music, but then you studied your bachelor's in flute performance, mm-hmm. but then now you're doing a voice performance certificate.
Yes.
So how was that? Tell us a little bit about your undergrad.
So I went to one of our sister schools, sister Adventist schools, now called Washington Adventist University, for my bachelor's. And I would say, I'm going to be very honest here, I would say I was a bit of a diva probably when I was in high school. I knew that I had talent, and I kind of expected certain reactions or behaviors towards me and my singing. And it didn't happen the way I was wanting. And as a way to kind of get back at people, I don't know, I decided to do flute instead. But I'm grateful because in doing so, I learned what it meant to work hard. I'm talented with flute, but I had to work much harder to be good. And whatever element of diva-ness I had was ironed out during those 4 years.
Wow.
Because I had to work hard. And I continued to play flute for, well, I still do, actually. I still play flute. But I've taught flute lessons for many years, and I've played for different pit orchestras and solos in church and even other places. But the voice was always there. I mean, obviously it's with me all the time. But it was just interesting how no matter where I went and what I did, because later I did get a master's, but in arts management, so more the business side of the music industry. No matter what I was doing in undergrad, in my master's, beyond my master's, I was kind of always looking to the side. But what about voice? And I don't know if because I was so ironed out of my diva-ness, I don't think that's a word, but we're going to make it a word today. I was almost afraid to give it a try. Afraid that maybe my diva would come back, afraid of being judged or critiqued for my voice. But again, a few years ago, God spoke to me and said, I want you to sing. I gave you this gift, and it's time that you use it. And he used a series of circumstances that were happening in my life to lead me towards really making voice my focus. And do I wish that different means had been used? Sure, but I know that I am now here where I need to be, and that I'm doing what I need to be doing. And I'm very grateful to now be here at La Sierra to study voice. And I feel that I am now discovering my sense of self in a way that I had not experienced before. Because I'm now really honestly, truthfully, and honorably working on this instrument that I believe God has gifted me with.
You keep singing all these years?
Oh yes, I've always sung. I was in choirs when I wasn't. I did not do choir in undergrad. I focused on band and orchestra because of flute. But I was in choir in my church, and when I was in graduate school, I was part of a small ministry that would visit different churches. It was just me, another singer, and a pianist, and we would do different religious programs. So we would go around and perform for different churches, and yeah, there was always a reason to sing. There was always a need to sing.
Okay.
And then it was, okay, so let's sing.
Okay. You also were mentioning before a little bit about your musical theater background and how you were watching The Sound of Music when you were a little kid. And then now you were like Maria in The Sound of Music. How was that experience for you?
Playing the part of Maria was definitely a dream come true. Sound of Music was the very first musical I ever saw. And I was in 4th grade at my school, sitting on the gym floor and seeing our gym being transformed into a stage, and then all of the, the lights, the music, the costumes. It was kind of like Fantasia brought to life.
Wow.
And I just remember being so enamored, but I was afraid to give it a try until 2 years later. The first musical I ever got to be a part of was The King and I. No, The Music Man. The Music Man. And it was so much fun. And then to go through my high school career being part of so many different stories, but I always missed The Sound of Music. It was before I got involved, and then it came again after I had graduated, and I did get to be in the orchestra pit that time. But when I came to La Sierra, I had the opportunity to finally be on the stage. And it was just magical to be this character, to bring to life this character who just felt so real and felt so relatable to me. Maybe this isn't the right thing to say, but I don't know that I acted a whole lot, because it was basically, to me, Maria is very similar in personality and in energy to who I am. And so it was just kind of me having fun on stage, and I loved it.
That's why people were calling you Julie Andrews?
Yes, I was called Julie Andrews a couple of times since my name is Juliana, and so, you know, the Queen Andrews, Dame Andrews, I can only wish.
And talking about more of your experiences here at La Sierra.
Yes.
What about the guest speakers, you know, the guest singers that come here?
I have had the opportunity to sing for a master class for one individual. Her name was Rayanne Bryce Davis. She is a member of the LA Opera, or sings periodically with the LA Opera. And it was amazing to be able to sing for a professional and then have her tweak and give different insights. What I sang for her that day was a piece by Emmy Beach. And it was just really interesting because most of my training is classical, even with my background and interest in musical theater. It's classical training. And when you sing classically, I think there's different ways that you assume things are supposed to be done. So when you're singing in English, there's a way that you sing in English, and a lot of my background is choral. So I guess I was singing it kind of in a choral style. And she said, "Is this composer American or British?" And I said, "American." "Then you speak like an American." That blew my mind. And it seems like such a small thing, but it meant that the nuances of some of the words changed. And it made the song very different for me. And I'm just so glad that I had that opportunity, because, you know, Dr. Lee, who's my teacher, is a wonderful teacher. But it's always nice to have some little extra from other professionals working in the field.
And right now you're taking lessons with another professional, right? What's her name?
Lauren Batley.
Lauren Batley.
And she is our new contemporary voice teacher here at La Sierra. And while my main teacher is Dr. Rajan Lee, I have been taking some side lessons with Miss Batley, and it's just been a very interesting experience. She is helping me learn how to play with my voice again. Because
how's that?
It's when you start doing this as a job with certain expectations, you are afraid to play, I think, because you want to make sure you do things well, you do things right. And what Miss Batley is helping me remember is the reason that I fell in love with music, the reason that I loved Fantasia, loved musical theater, is because it let me play. It let me play with sound, it let me play with colors, it let me, you know. So she's helping me rediscover this element of play with the voice, where I get to experiment doing more jazz style or pop style, or my family is Brazilian. I'm Brazilian American, so I even get to play with some bossa nova. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun. And I'm very grateful that I have this opportunity to be able to take some lessons with her.
And can we listen to some of these in your recital coming up?
The bossa nova, no. Unfortunately, no. But I will have a Brazilian composer featured in my recital.
Oh, cool. What is this composer? What is this piece?
So I will be doing the Heitor Villa-Lobos Baquianas Brasileiras número 5, number 5, for soprano and 8 cellos.
Wow, that sounds exciting.
It has been a dream since I was 15 years old.
Wow.
That I wanted to do this piece, and it's finally coming true. La Sierra is where dreams come true. I am so excited for this piece.
Good. Any other thing we can wait to hear in your recital?
I will be doing a set by Clara Schumann, a set by Claude Debussy, the Amy Beach that I mentioned, I will be doing the entire set for my recital, as well as a piece from a living composer who is very excited. I had the opportunity to reach out to her, and she's excited that her piece is on my program. I'm excited that she's going to be listening to it, as well as some songs by Bellini, beautiful bel canto music. And I think my favorite part about this recital is that I get to collaborate with so many people. I'm going to have a trumpeter and an organist on the very first piece. The Bacchianas has my 8 cellos that are from all over the world. And then, of course, I have my good friend Jonathan Keplinger, who will be with me on the piano for the majority of the recital.
Wow. And when is your recital?
May 30 at 7 p.m. Pacific.
Okay, well, thank you for being here, and I hope the best for your recital.
Thank you very much.
See you then. We are thankful for the opportunity to share Juliana's stories. She will be having her recital on May 30th at 7 p.m., and you can find the events link in the description. Please stay tuned for our next episodes, where we will share in more stories. If you are not already following us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, be sure to do so at La Sierra University Music. If you have stories that you would like us to cover, please subscribe and leave a comment below. See you in the next episode.